pull apart. There's only three muscles we're able to do in the medial compartment of the thigh. So we have our gracilis here. We have our adductor longus. Okay. Now on either side of the gracilis, we have the adductor magnus. So gracilis, adductor longus, adductor magnus. Okay, so we just do those three from the medial compartment. In the anterior compartment of the thigh, running obliquely across the thigh, is the sartorius. Okay, sartorius. And we have quadriceps femoris. We have to point to the tendon here. So quadriceps femoris, that's the remaining four muscles in the anterior compartment. Three of them we're able to identify. The rectus femoris, down the midline. Vastus lateralis, okay, down the lateral side. Vastus medialis. Okay, so quadriceps femoris, rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus medialis. So we go posterior in the gluteal region. Because we're not pulling it apart, we just have gluteus maximus. Okay. Posterior compartment of the thigh. Okay, so on the lateral side, long head of the biceps femoris. In order to see the short head, we'd have to pull it apart, so just long head of the biceps femoris. On the medial side, we're able to do both. On top is the semitendinosus. Underneath, you can see it on either side, it's the semimembranosus. Okay, so semitendinosus on top, semimembranosus underneath. Posterior compartment of the leg. Again, because we're not pulling it apart, there's just one muscle, gastrocnemius. Gastrocnemius. Anterior compartment of the leg. Here, anterior compartment of the leg. So identify the bone, okay, on the medial side. This is the tibia. Running anteriorly down the tibia is the tibialis anterior. Okay. You see this muscle belly next here, we follow it. These tendons run into the toes. So this is extensor digitorum longus. Sandwich between the tibialis anterior and the extensor digitorum longus. You see this muscle belly here? It runs into your great toe. So this is extensor hallucis longus. Okay. And that's what we could do for the leg model. Okay. So again, when we look at the arm, I always like to start with either the finger pads or the fingernails. Finger pads, we know we're looking at the flexor compartment of the arm. So if we look at the flexor compartment, we start on the medial side. This muscle belly runs to the carpals on the pinky side. So flexor, carpi, ulnaris. Next muscle belly here, it runs to the palm, palmaris longus. Next muscle belly, here it runs to the carpals on the thumb side, flexor, carpi, radialis. Okay. Now, you can see underneath the flexor palmaris longus, you can see there's a muscle underneath on either side. This is your flexor digitorum superficialis. Now we're not pulling it apart, so you cannot do profundus and flexor pollicis longus. Okay. So now we'll do the extensor compartment. Okay. Fingernails, extensor. So here, the first muscle in that extensor compartment is your brachioradialis. Okay, brachioradialis. Next we have this muscle. Runs to the carpals on the thumb side. So extensor, carpi, radialis, and it's longus because the longus has to be on top of extensor, carpi, radialis, brevis. So the muscle belly for longus is on top of the muscle belly for brevis. So extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi radialis brevis. Next, muscle belly here runs into the fingers. So extensor digitorum. Okay. There's one small muscle here that runs into your pinky. Extensor digiti minimi. Okay. And then finally, last one runs to the carpals on the pinky side, extensor carpi ulnaris. Okay, so now if we do the anterior brachium, okay, the anterior brachium, So the biceps brachii covers your anterior brachium. Okay, biceps brachii covers the anterior brachium. Now, the biceps means two origins. The medial origin is the short head of the biceps brachii. The lateral origin is the long head of the biceps brachii. Okay. Now, there are two muscles underneath the biceps brachii. You don't have to take it off to see them because you can see them both from the sides. So sharing an origin with the short head of the biceps brachii is your coracobrachialis. Okay, your coracobrachialis. Okay. Deep to the biceps brachii, but distally you have your brachialis. So you see your brachialis on either side here. You can see it really clearly from the side. So your brachialis. Okay, so that's the anterior brachium. Now if we go posterior, before we do the posterior brachium, it's better just start to do these muscles on the posterior aspect of the scapula. So we identify the spine of the scapula. The muscle above the spine, supraspinatus. The large muscle below is the infraspinatus. And then we have our teres minor held up by teres major. Okay. So now posterior brachium is covered by the triceps brachii. So to see the triceps brachii, we have to go to the elbow. So the tendon here is for triceps brachii. Medial to that, you have the medial head of your triceps brachii. Okay, go back to the tendon. Lateral to that, you have the lateral head of the triceps brachii. Go back to the tendon. And then in between these two is the long head of the triceps brachii. Okay, so that's the arm model.